and welcome back to my channel Capsulea. Landes here for another fitting guide for the Alpha Chronicles, and this time we are going to look at the MOA, which is one of the most iconic hull for me in the e-vehicles lineup, and probably one of the best, if not the best, ISK making machine that an Alpha clone can get, at least for the regular mission up to tier 6. I would say this is the best I've been able to get so far in terms of DPS. So if we go and take a look at the ship in itself, so let's go. Of course, the appearance is very nice. This is one of my favorite hull. Remind me a bit of the Star Trek Federation ships, and it has a bit of a feel and look of the Defiant class starship in a way. But you can see here that you can have many different skins for the ship if you do like to change the appearance. The Earth one is particularly beautiful, alongside the water one, Purity of the Throne, like a bit less, and the exoplanet is more of a neutral tone. But many skills available for the ship, which is always nice. In terms of the ship intrinsics characteristics, so you see here that for every level in terms of shield operation, you will get a 4% increase in shield resistance. Okay, that's not shield, so it will not increase your let's say the number of hit points you get on the shield, but it will go into the resistance, so it will make your shield more able to resist damage than they would normally, and so you get up to 20% resistance, which makes this ship sort of a natural tank. And that is why, in my opinion, like for the Mauler, which is in terms of resistance is more on the armor side, this makes them both on par in terms of being natural tank and increase the natural resistance very significantly. It basically gives you a hardener for free in terms of operational characteristics. So very nice indeed, and that's why I'm more keen to see this ship in brawler build and approach than for a kiting part. And then very standard for the cruiser command, you get a bit of increase in your hailgun damage, so up to 25% if you maxed out cruiser command, which I have in this case, and 5% medium railgun accuracy fall off, so you will gain a bit of range but not that much. Okay, and that's why when I presented the model, I went for the range kiting, even though you have natural armor resistance, because the lasers have a better range overall than the railgun. So basically the ship could accommodate both fits. So if you want to get it in more of a mid-range, I would say, a range kiting build, you can, and you will use rifled railguns. And just go look on the Mauler video and you will see a bit what kind of fitting and internals you need to rigs. You just need to translate armor versus shields, and you will get them. But this time we will go into the brawler, because this is really what it shines, especially with the sub-nose railguns, which is a very good tracking abilities in terms of the medium size turret. So in terms of defense, you see, of course, this is a Galdari ship, so you have a huge part of your defense set on shield. You see here almost 1.5 times, so 4.5k in shield, 3,000 in armor, and 3,000 in structure. And you see already the let's say base distribution that you get in terms of the the spread in terms of the three dimensions. So it's really focused on the shield part. In the capacitor is average, so you get almost 2.5 gigajoule. Without spoiling, you will see that I am capable of doing a capacitor stable build, but only with the support of a Nosferatus, which are very useful here to maintain the stability and the capacity of the ship to soak up damage. In terms of signature radius and scan resolution, that's really average and on par with other cruiser. And the flight velocity 240 is a bit lower than what you will see on some ship. The Mother is a bit faster, and the Stabber, which I did showcase last week, of course this is the fastest cruiser that you can get, because it has a natural flight velocity bonus. But 240 is already good and will be quite sufficient to close the distance with some form of afterburner or micro warp drive. You will be able to get there very efficiently. So now moving on to the build itself. So as I said, this is a build which is for brawling. So you will look at the subnose railgun. So you see here 4. Those are the Hustlers. They are not that expensive on the market at the moment, so it's fairly easy to get those. And you see that with maxed out skills, I'm nearly at 80 DPS per gun. And so when you look at the overall, I'm 310 for the turrets, complemented by 27 for the drone. And in this case, because we will be brawling, the drone will be effective compared to the Mother, where the drone is really used very occasionally when there is a target that moves so fast that you are not able to dispose of it before it reached the 25 kilometers range of the drone. In this case, the drone will be up all time. And because it will be up all time, I try to synergize a bit the damage profile of the snub-nose railgun, which is thermal and kinetic. So this is kind of an average profile. So it will do average on shield and do average on armor without really besting in any class. And because of this damage distribution, you're landing also where people usually have very high resistance. So I did complement that with an infiltrator just to get that EM damage and looking and ripping through shields a bit more faster. If you're more looking at fighting let's say ship which are armor oriented, of course you can swap and get a Valkyrie in there. That will be explosive and that will be for armor, but I thought it would be best here to get the shields down faster. Mid slot, of course, I get 2 Nosferatus, and as I said before, this is what keeps the ship's cap stable, and you really need to focus and be in range, so in between, ideally less than 10 kilometers, but as soon as you hit 15 kilometers, start targeting the ship and leeching it just to get your cap as stable as possible. For the low slot, of course, we will be looking at maximizing the resistance of the ship. So you will find first and foremost a shield booster just to get your shield back up constantly. And so I went for the officer grade. Then you have the adaptive shield armor. I was going to say armor because I'm so much into the armor tanking, which basically give you another flat 32% resistance. And then for the third one, you can go for another adaptive, or you can go for the reactive. It all depends on the type of damage. If you are going to get ship equipped with missile, go for another red. if you go for let's say railgun based opponent or laser based opponent, most likely the yellow one will give you a bit more overall resistance, because it will shift toward the damage profile that your opponent will be. I know this is heavily debated. Usually people tend to consider that 2 reds is better than a red and a yellow, so you can go either way. It will give you the same level of performance. Usually yes, 2 reds, then you don't need to bother whether you will be facing missile boat or on a type of damage profile. But in this case I went with the red and yellow, and it was quite fine. Boosting a bit the DPS with a basic magnetic field stabilizer, so an extra 5% DPS, and an activation time adjustment as well. And then of course when hot you get the 400% bonus increase, but that is very circumstantial, because I have only 20 seconds every minute and a half there. Last and not least, of course, you get something for closing in the distance, and so you can go for an afterburner, you can go for a micro rope drive. Personally, I've used both. What I do like with the MWD, which I'm using on my Mermaid and on my main account, it really gives you this extra boost in range. The downside is that whenever you get ships which have a scram, then you don't get anything. Whereas with the afterburner, you still get a decent speed for closing on the distance, so you will get to around 500 meters per second here. But the only thing that can happen is you get webbed, and if you get webbed, you still have some additional velocity out of your afterburner, because for rats you hardly have more than one that is on you. So that's why I tend to prefer the afterburner for those kind of builds on smaller ship, which have still some relatively good basic speed over the MWD. But I would say go with whatever you are skilled at, or whatever you like. It shouldn't be a big deal if you end up getting scrammed and having equipped a MWD. The objective anyway is not to be speed tanking around your target. The objective is to close the distance and the gap. In terms of internal, so for the weapon, of course, I went for the collision accelerator, so the flat damage bonus, and that is just to ease up on the cap management. If you take the other rigs which foster your cycle time, means you will be firing faster, getting additional DPS potentially, but it will be a strong drain on your cap. And as I was a bit worried on not being cap stable for that kind of brawler build, then I went for the accelerator. And then of course, because I wanted to strengthen my overall resistance, I went for an anti-EM screen, so an additional 35% in terms of electromagnetic resistance. In terms of the engineering rings, well, a targeting system subcontroller, just to lock on a bit faster on the target and make sure that I can then start firing ASAP, and then a semiconductor memory cell just for the let's say the extra juice that it gives, and probably contribute quite significantly as well to my cap stability. You will see on the next video, which will be on the Rupture, very similar build, also a brawler style. I didn't have the money actually, or didn't want to spend the money on the level 1 semiconductor, so I went for the free Higgs that you get with the daily login, which is only a 10 or 12.5%, and that makes a difference. So the other build is not cap stable as the MOA is actually. So that's it for the internal. So in terms of defense, you see here that the resistance that I have is already at the base level of I would say around 50% average, a bit more in explosive, already 60, thermal is at 40. When I get hot, so with the red and yellow, I'm at 70-75% average resistance, which is very strong, and just then with the shield booster I'm able to maintain my shield overall. Armor, well, normally you shouldn't get into armor, so it's not so relevant, and the same with the structure. Hopefully you will never get into structure, but you see already, because I have some skills in the cruiser defense, so I get the 500 additional hit points on the cruiser, so I went for 4.5k to 5k, and the same with the armor points, it went for 3 to 3.5k. In terms of capacitor, you see that I'm capacitor stable. Again, I insist this is due to the Nosferatu, so if you are not in range of the Nos, you will be draining your cap using the shield hardener and shield booster and firing. So as soon as possible, as soon as you get within 15 kilometers of a ship, just activate the Nosferatu. It will give you a boost and maintain your capacitor. This is really critical for this ship. In terms of targeting, so fairly decent targeting for a cruiser. Nothing really to mention here. It is still a bit supported by the targeting rigs, so you should be able to get your target very rapidly and then start orbiting and shooting. Base speed, because I have the cruiser skill maxed out, so the basic cruiser command, I'm nearly at 300, so I gain like 50 meter per second base speed, and then the afterburner push me to this 450 500 meter per second, which I need to close on my enemies and opponents. Warp preparation times is 5 seconds, so you need to take that into account. If at some point you are in trouble for one reason or another, even though for tier 6 mission that shouldn't happen. And to be honest, for tier 7 mission I would pick up another ship, the Starboard Mauler or the Vexer, for range kiting rather than brawling. But should that happen, please consider that you have 6 seconds downtime or cool time before you're actually able to warp, so you need to anticipate a bit your escape should you need. In terms of cost, so let's take a look at what is actually the estimated cost of the ship. So we are close to 90 million, 88.5 million ISK for the hull, plus the different fittings that I've been showcasing. So it's a bit on the expensive side of the ships that I've been showcasing so far, but to be honest, it's really worth it. So for me, as I said, this is one of the most efficient ISK machine that you can get as an alpha clone. And if you want to chain tier 6 mission, so the 500k one, this ship will give you a very efficient loadout, because basically not only is it the highest DPS, but also you loot as you kill, because you are in such a close orbit to your target. You will be looting as you kill your opponent. So when the encounters is finished, basically you can warp to another one. You don't have to collect the loot as you have with the range kiting build that I've shown before. So that's all I wanted to share on the MOA. I think it's a fairly standard loadout. If you look at other videos, you will find very similar profiles. Nothing else for me to add. So if you find this useful, please give me a like, and if you want to get notified new content posted on this channel, well, you can hit the subscribe and notification bell, and then you will be notified of every new video coming in this channel. I just added a short combat demonstration for the ship, so I did a tier 6. You will see it's very efficient, very fast, and I won't say AFK-ish, because you need to basically collect the loot and change orbit and shift target manually, but it's a fairly efficient and very fun ship to fly. So take care, see you in another video, and hope to see you back on this channel.